Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming here. Thank you for being here in honor of my mother. Yeah, thank you for being in honor of my mother on her 40th day of passage to heaven, so-called in Persian, Chelle. Really, I want to thank you more because you're taking time from your best time of the weekend on a Saturday evening. You're here, especially during the current challenges. That means even more that you have taken time to be here for my mom. And that means a whole lot. And I would never forget. And I'm indebted to every one of you that are here tonight. What I planned, by the way, how was the food? I hope that at least the meal was fine. So compliment to the chef. It sounds like the food was great, and how was the service? The service was wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, what I planned that, I wanted to tell a few stories, or if any of you want to join me up here, perhaps we can laugh a little bit, shed some tears. But before we do that, I thought that perhaps I'm the most qualified person to give a little introduction as to who this beautiful woman is. You guys can hear me with this? Yeah. So I thought that, I should do that. And talking about the woman, Mrs. Fadavi, probably needs no introduction to any of you, but I want to just go ahead and say a few words. My mom was a beautiful, unique, strong, talented, loving woman that I have ever met in my life. She was also classy, and she was reserved, and she was reserved in many ways, I should say, and she was formal. For example, have you asked her that what your name is? It was beautiful the way she said it. She would never say her first name. She would say Mrs. Fadavi. And had my father was around, I'm sure he would be pleased to hear that after so many years. Is this working? After so many years, my mom still is using his last name. But my mom had one of the most beautiful first names, and she didn't use that often. Her first name, as many of you know, was Afagh. Afagh in Persian, for those of you who don't speak Persian, means horizon. And what is horizon? Tomorrow morning, look at the horizon. When you see horizon, it appears to be somewhere out there that shows the beginning of Earth, beginning of the world. And isn't what mother's all about? Mothers are the beginning of each and every one of us. Your mother is your beginning, literally, till they cut the cord. And my mom was truly my beginning. There was a famous British writer, C.S. Lewis. When I was in England, I read a couple of his books. In one of the books, he says, we cannot change the beginning, but we can start today and change the ending. And when I read that book, it stuck in my mind. You cannot change the beginning, but you can always change the ending. Well, my mom was there for my beginning, and obviously I wasn't there for her beginning. But I know that I can influence and change her ending to something better. I was too young at the time when I was in England. I was 17. My mom, even though, this seed was planted in my mind that perhaps I should be changing her ending, but let's not forget, I'm not the only child that my mom had. I'm the youngest one. After me, I have my sister Mitra in France. She's got her own family. She's married to a doctor, and she's got 2 kids, and just recently she had a grandchild. And I have another sister in and I have another sister in England, Malak, and she also has 2 kids, and Desiree and Ali has 2 children. So my mom has, and by the way, my brother also in Canada. We are an international family all over. So my mom has 4 children, 4 grandchildren, and 3 great grandchildren. When I look back at her life, I can tell that she had a wonderful life, and every phase of her life was well completed. I would say my mom never worked in her life. However, that's not a true statement, because she worked really hard at home. I would say she was a homemaker. And what is a homemaker? Homemaker, it's the ultimate job. And any other position that exists is to support the homemaker. So homemaker is the ultimate position that you can ever hold. And because of that, had you been in our house when I was growing up, you could have eaten off the floor. Our home was so clean. Everything was organized. I remember we had 2 decks, one in the front, one in the back, and you could have not go from the back to the front unless you change your shoes. So everywhere we had rules around the house, even just up to a recent time, when my friends came over, they used to tell me, where is that instruction so I can follow for your house? So everything was orderly, everything was so organized, and it was just beautiful growing up in that family where my mom was in control. As I said, I was only, at the funeral home I said that, I was only 11 when my father passed away. And my mom so quickly stepped up to the plate. And I wanted to make sure I bring this picture. This picture is taken a year before my father passed away. So she was that young, that beautiful, and she didn't want to remarry. And she wanted to do that for the good of the kids. And that is something that definitely you got to give it your highest value. And she worked hard for that time. And if you remember, I said when my dad passed away, the first thing my mom did that my sister was graduating from high school, and she said, let's send her out to England because she wanted to go for her higher education. She wanted to study economics, and she gave her a chunk of the inheritance, and she bought a house there, and she studied economy, and she met her husband, she made her family, and she became happy where she was. My brother, on the other hand, he was a mechanical engineer, but he decided to take chunk of the inheritance, and he bought a flashy red car and a hotel. What a combination for a 30-year-old, a flashy red car and a hotel. But he had his fun, God bless him. Mitra and I, we were 2 young children at home, and we stayed behind with mom. And once I got my diploma, I went to England, and I thought that I want to continue my education out there. But I wasn't too happy there. Then I came to the United States. I went to college here, the university, and it was only a year after I was here. I know that what C.S. Lewis says, you cannot change the beginning, but you can always change the ending. And was no one as important to me as my mom. So I know that this is a very good time to ask mom to come to America, because my older sister, Malak, already returned home with her family. My brother was always busy with his hotel and the red car that he was driving around in. And Mitra graduated from the high school and was going to university, and she also had a job on the side. So with that in mind, I realized that mom... It's close, yeah. Is it better now?
Yes.
I thought that, with that in mind, I wasn't sure what you were trying to signal.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't mean that.
Yes, I do understand. Thank you. Yeah, I do understand all kind of accent, including that one. So what was I? You lost my train of thought. You remember what I was talking about? Yeah.
You came to the United States.
Yeah, but anyhow, so the story was that, the kids were busy back home, and I thought that this is one hell of an opportunity to ask my mom to come here. So I said, Mom, you got to join me out here, and she agreed. And I remember it was on January 5th, 1980, it was Lexington, Kentucky. I went to the airport and I picked her up, and the day that she entered this country, it changed my life 1,000 times better. Because I was no longer a student living alone in some dormitory or apartment. Now I had my family here. I felt like that, I'm gone back home and I'm living the good old days once again at my age, around 20 years old. So life changed dramatically for me to a point that, I didn't know what to do. I was that excited. And it was great because my mother was the only mother. We were like 10 kids, all Persian, going to school, and we all knew each other. And my mom was like their mother. So every weekend we had parties, my mom was cooking for everyone. So it was one hell of an environment to grow at that time. Ali was there also. She probably remembers that. Yeah, he was a friend from those good old days. But again, what did you say? How you threw me off again?
I said I know.
Yes, thanks. Don't do that again. So the life was so great, and I thought that not to forget that the ultimate goal I have is to change the ending. So my goal was that to get my degree as quickly as possible. And I did that without praying, because every time I wanted to get an A, I would say, Mom, pray for me, and I got an A. Then I got my second degree, and she kept praying, so I got that easily. And she kept praying, I got my license. So I said, Mom, keep praying, because things are coming, the way you are handling that, it looks like you're on the driving seat. So she was praying, and I was passing courses, I was getting degrees, I was getting licenses, and actually I got a real estate license. So all these licenses, one after another one. And then the revolution happened back home, and my brother did some risky with all of the inheritance. So we lost everything. So I thought in my back of my mind was that one day I'm going to go there, just do nothing and make money. Then I realized that, it made my life even more difficult now, because my ultimate goal is that to change Mom's ending. Now it is all in my hands. So once I got my degrees and the license, and I said, now what I should do, get a decent job. And now I owe it to Farah. He was the one, he was in New York, and he said, come out here, there is a position where I work. And I said, great. And I remember I drove all the way up here, I went to his house. The next day I went for the position, they interviewed me, they got me the job. So now my mom is in Kentucky, I'm over here, but things are turning good because I'm getting the job now. I'm getting closer to my goal to make her ending better. So I asked Faramars again, I said, we got to put the money down for the deposit, so we went to the bank, and I got 1,200, he could sign that. So we put the money for the deposit for the apartment, I rented the place, and I brought my mom from Kentucky up here. By the way, Farah gave me $300 too. I kept the money with Mom, because at that time money ran out, because everything was lost back home. So I said, Mom, stay there. let me put some furniture in the house, and then next week I brought mom here. And when mom was here, life was amazing. I was making money, I had a good job, good paying job, and my mother was with me. I said, I am almost there to make the ending better for her. Then of course, I had another promotion, she was praying, I got another job, then she was keep praying. So things were just growing with my mom's help behind me. Father always said it. He said, don't ever act cocky, because everything you own is because of your mom. And I knew it's true. If you have someone that it is 1,000% behind you, that person, if it's 1,000% behind you, you can't believe that, what you can accomplish in life. So if you have anyone that it is that kind of a person that you can always lean on, that's what my mom was. Mom was a pillar for me. She was someone that I could have gone to, and she was always supporting my ideas. And sometimes she would say it the way it was. She was blunt. She would say yes or no. But I knew that she's behind me, and it is amazing. When even though she was a little woman at the end, and probably she couldn't accomplish much, but that psychological help. I felt like that I can do anything in life because I would have gone to mom, and mom would say that, yes, you can do it, why not? Go for this job or that job. I remember they had a job in LaGuardia Airport for the manager of the airport, and I said, Mom, should I apply for this job? She said, yeah, go ahead, apply. I said, Mom, if I apply for that job and I get the job, do you know that I cannot come home every night, especially in winter time? If there is a storm or something, they won't let me leave the airport sometimes for a week. And she said, well, then I realized that, she's changing her voice. She said, well, do it anyway. And he said, oh, okay, all right, it didn't sound too promising. So still that, my point was that I felt like that I can accomplish anything in life because there was somebody that was 1,000% behind me. And it's so wonderful. My mom always referred to herself as someone, she said it in Persian, as Gol Nazarkar, as Sang Saftar. For those of you who don't speak English, it means as delicate and softer than flower and as hard as rock. And she was truly my rock. She was the rock in my life. And Dr. Blomwood was supposed to come here tonight, also a cardiologist. Every time we visited him, he said, she's a tough lady. And I said, thank you, doctor. And he would say that I'm guaranteed for another 6 months. I guess my mom had to be tough. You have to understand that, she was too young when she got married. She was only 16. Then she was too young when she lost her husband. So it was 2 big shocks in her life. And at the age, this is the age she was when my father passed away. And imagine you're that young in a country like out there that probably you need to have a male to support you, otherwise you become almost nobody. She had to survive, and as I said that when my father passed away, she stepped up to the plate and she did such a wonderful job that neither of us missed daddy any longer. She was that good of a lady. She was a strong lady. And I admire my mom, the way that she was and the way that she believed in stuff. Even toward the end, she could hardly walk to the bathroom. And she would say that, you know what, we don't need help here. I said, what do you mean we don't need help here? Well, of course we need help. She said, no, I can do it. And I said, and I used to smile and I said, okay, Mom. So one of the things that, I always enjoyed with my mom, we make probably, so many of you know that, we used to go out, the way it worked, on weekdays she cooked, on weekends I would say, of course when she was cooking, she hasn't been cooking for like 10 years now. So I would say that don't cook on weekends, we used to go out on the weekends. Then what I would try to do is spend really good quality time with my mom. I remember we went on a cruise, and when you're on a cruise ship, after a few days, you get bored, you don't know what to do, you have seen everything, you go up and down. So one day, we went to the casino, we went here and there. I said, Mom, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know, what do you want to do? So I said, Mom, how about if this is, I held her hand in my hand. And I said, Mom, how about if we talk? And her face glowed. So anyway, my point is that I try to have those quality time with her. And as I was getting closer to my ending for my mom, I tried to take her to all the places that she wanted to. I took her many times to California because the Iranian community out there, it's like Iran, so she won't miss Iran. So we went there, California, at least I think we went 4 times. We went to Disney World 7 times. We went on a cruise once with Diane, a number of times. We went to Canada, we went to Maine. So I did all that to make sure that she has quality time. Sometimes you drag somebody, take them to places, and it's not fun. Maybe it's fun for you, and you have to understand that that individual may not enjoy the environment that you're taking the person to. So and I tried to do that, and in my mind I thought I'm achieving, and probably I did, but not to the point that I really want to, because you always want to do something more. And I remember what Gino said. Gino, one day you told me, he said, you are a lucky guy. You can do things for your mom now because you can afford it. And I'm really lucky. I got to the point that I had the money to do this stuff to change her ending. Imagine that, still I was in college and I had no money and I couldn't do the things. Then you feel even worse because you're losing somebody that you want to influence their ending and you're powerless. But so I'm so grateful. What you said, these are the things that some of you done in room for me. And it keeps me going. And it is beautiful. And I think about it and sometimes it comforts me. Sometimes I think again, and it's a selfish thinking, because after all, my mom was never bedridden. She always walked to the bathroom. She never wore a diaper. So she never lost her dignity. And she was one of those people that, had it ever been to that point, she would have lost it and quickly gone, because she just didn't want that kind of, lifestyle. So with all that, I'm happy. Maybe it didn't last as long as I wanted to. But I'm glad that, the ending was in such a way that I was in the same room with her. And it was on August 31st at 3 in the morning. And I stayed next to her bed, then I fell asleep. Then I heard beep, 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 then it was the end of it. So she went while she was asleep. In a way, it was fortunate that she didn't suffer, so thank God. The other thing about mom that, was very important to her was birthdays or any kind of occasions that we had throughout the year, whether it was Thanksgiving, Christmas, Iranian New Year. But birthdays was something that she really enjoyed. And if it was your birthday, there were 5 items that you would get. Number 1, you must have a birthday card. That was, my mom, you just say happy birthday, didn't mean anything. You have to hand the first birthday card, and it must be something meaningful in that birthday card. And every year I used to write something, truly it came from my heart. I remember just a few years ago, one gentleman hit the lottery. It was for almost $1 billion, like 800 million. And it was close to my mom's birthday, so I wrote the card. I said, Mom, I said, happy birthday, Mom. And I said, I am the luckiest person, luckier than the gentleman who won the lottery. And this guy, he hit the lottery, jackpot, at the age, I think the guy was 70 years old. At 70 years old, I hit the jackpot at birth. So I enjoyed my lottery all my life. And she read it, she glowed. Every time I did something, she glowed, and it just kept me going. So the other thing that was important for her on her birthday was a cake. You must have a cake. And poor Barbara was in charge of the healthy cake, and she had to go to Natalie Bakery, get the bake, and the special cake that my mom wanted to. If it was on my birthday, she knew exactly the cake that she's going to get. And the third one was a bouquet of flowers. Every one of these flowers on your table is exactly the way mom had to have it on a birthday. You need to have plenty of red roses. You need to have plenty of baby's bread. Otherwise, it's no good. Poor Barbara. How many times, Barbara, did she send you back that the flour is no good, change it? And I used to say, Mom, leave her alone for God's sake. And she said, no, it doesn't have enough baby's bread. So I said, Mom, don't worry about it. No, you got to have plenty of baby's bread. So I apologize, if she had to send you away a few times for baby's bread.
My pleasure.
And the fourth one was birthday dinner. You must have a birthday dinner. So if it was somebody's birthday, Nushin, whether it was yours or anyone else, she would say that you got to take her out. You got to take her out. It's her birthday. And I said, okay, Mom, we take her out. So she would go to the effort to make sure that it is your birthday, and you used to play game that you don't know it is 2nd of March or the 3rd of March. And Mom said, it doesn't matter. It's something around these days. Let's tell her to take her for a dinner. So these were the fourth one. And the last one, of course, she had to give a gift. A birthday without a gift didn't mean anything. So she would cover all in one hand on your birthday. So she was just amazing. These are some of the memories I have, and it keeps you going. And I learned something from it. So as a matter of fact, this coming Wednesday, it is her birthday. October 14, 1925, my mother was born. So this coming Wednesday, actually around, she would be 95 years old. She left us almost 43 days before her birthday. So for this Wednesday, I got a birthday card for her. So I wrote the note for her, and I'm going to read it so I don't mess it up, because she's going to get upset. Okay, this is what I wrote. My beautiful and precious mom, you are truly the kind of the mother that every person would have been dreaming of. Your love, kindness, endless support, it's really the support that kept me going. And generosity knew no bounds. You have not only been a great mother and a precious mother for me, but you were also a role model for anyone that got to know you. The person that I am today, it's all because of you. It's all because of your guidance, examples that you showed me with your unconditional love. No matter how far I advance in life, how far I go to better myself, I always know I need you. And I just want to thank you for the greatest gift that I will ever receive. My beautiful mother. Well, now if any of you have anything that you remembered and you want to reminisce tonight and talk about mom, by all means, join me up here, or you may just say it at your desk, at your table. It's fine. But if there is anything, I would love to hear that. Jimmy? Wow.
In the name of God, most merciful, Mrs. Fadavi,
Afagh Fadavi was Our Lady of Light, whose brightness showered a brilliant vision of love upon all who have the honor of being in her presence. Her love will always burn bright in our memories, be it in times of joy, as when she reminds us that nothing is more important than the bond of kinship, of family and friends, or in times of trouble or sadness, when she reminds us that through her example of offering us a lifetime of her unconditional love, that hope, or what we Iranians call Umid, will ultimately heal the soul and pave the path for truth and justice to triumph. Afagh Fadavi was a visionary who understood how to strike the fine balance between tightly holding on to cultural norms and values that provide life both its essence and spiritual meaning, and letting go of superstitious anomalies by keeping spiritual matters strictly personal and encouraging her children to seek modern forms of knowledge and wisdom through the difficult journey of expatriation from one's own homeland to the uncharted frontiers of the West. On Afagh Fadavi's 40th day memorial, or chalet, as we say in the Iranian language, we keep with our cultural vision by acknowledging the presence of her soul at this honorary gathering, and by confirming our covenant to live up to the example of love that she personified and set as a standard bearer for us all. Rush Shah. Thank you.
I took the flowers when I was taking them to the cemetery, and I guess I was allergic to one of them, and I started coughing and coughing and coughing, and I said, oh God, stop. You know, if I show up and it's like, when I take everybody into a room and I can't stop coughing, nobody's gonna walk into the room. So that didn't help, and I quickly said, Mom, help me out. I'm coughing. I'm honest to God, it stopped. So I guess when I have her support for this kind of thing, it makes you feel better. So whether it is truly some kind of an energy that affects you, that it lights up your day, whatever it is, the power still is alive and is working. So thank you, Mom. Thank you. Whatever you're doing, it's working. So if any of you want to just say something, don't be shy, just say that when you're sitting down. Almost for every one of you, we have some memories that I'd like to share here. So, we took a trip with you. So, yeah, your husband, my mom loved him. And we always talk about you two, that what a beautiful couple. They're such an attractive looking couple. And she was going on and on about you two. So, and it's amazing that every time we went somewhere, we went home, and she would talk about one person for a day, and the next day she was talking about that person for another day. رخسار خانم، مامان من وقتی شما آمدید منزل ما، when you came to our house, why did I start this speaking first? When you came to our house with your mother, when you left, my mom was talking about your mother and you for a couple of days. So I should have told you earlier. So that's how she was. And one person that I'm indebted for the past 25 years, that she did so much for us, is Barbara, our neighbor. She was amazing. And my mom loved her closer than anyone, her sister, anyone. She always looked at Barbara like an angel. Every time she wanted something done, she would reach out to Barbara. Barbara, do this and that. I remember once I came home and she had a bandage on her finger. And I said, Mom, what is it? She said, you can't believe what happened. I said, what happened? She apparently was cutting some vegetable or something. She cut her fingers, and she cut her finger, and it was bleeding profusely. And the first thing she did, she called Barbara. And of course, Barbara showed up with the first aid box, you know. She had all kind of the stuff in it, cleaned the finger and put the bandage on. And she showed the finger to me. She was so proud that she has somebody next door capable of handling her so well, so professionally. And she was amazing the way she was explaining how you saved her. So in a way, she was looking up to you as her savior, because every time she needed something big or small, it didn't matter, you were right there. If she wanted something, she would call you and you would get it in no time for her. Of course, she was blunt. She would say that this is no good, return it, I don't like it, doesn't have baby's breath, or this is what is wrong with it. But she was honest. Whatever she said, it truly came from her heart, and you knew that. So you know exactly where you were standing with mom. So I'm so grateful that you were next door. You're more than a next door person. You're a family. You are just one angel that we met in this world. And I thank you for everything you did for my mom.
No, I thank you
For what?
for being next door to me.
I don't know what I have done. It worked on Barbara. I brainwashed her. She really thinks that I have done so much for her. But you know, I have to see what I've got to reverse this tape and see what I did that it worked for you. Because there are so many women I'm going to work on and give them that. But thank you. You did really amazing. So, Jennifer grew up in our family. She was around since she was 17.
Actually, I have a couple things to say.
You have a couple of things to say? Yeah, okay. You want to come up here or there?
Oh, over here. Some people would believe she was a fussy woman, but I would call her a very proper woman. And I do believe that as well. I don't know, I'll miss her, and I'm going to miss the security knowing that she's no longer with you physically. You and your mom taught me so much about even caring and loving for my parents as they get older. Even financially or anything it is I can do for my mom and dad. Your voice is always ringing in my head. You are such a testament to all of her great, beautiful work. And I am so happy you're in my life. And I'm so glad to know Mrs. Fadavi. I'm so sorry. She's just very, very special people. Just very amazing humans. And I'm so glad that I met you and your mom. Anyway.
Thank you. This is the night that we're going to do some laughs, shed some tears, and it looks like it's working. So laughing, some of us shedding some tears. So I guess the ending is going to be what I wanted to hear. So it's working. Thank you, Mom. And it's amazing that, you know, when you look back at your life and the things happen, and it looks like that it meant to happen as such. And you wonder that maybe at one given time that things weren't so great, but you look back and you say, well, I was naive at the time and perhaps I didn't quite understand. But this was the puzzle that how it should have been resolved. You just didn't have the understanding that that's how it works. So now I wonder that if I ever look back this, what it happened just 40 days ago, how would I see this? I know that obviously if I miss her, first of all, as I said, she went when she was asleep. So this is probably the best it could have happened to anyone. And most definitely, she had a beautiful life. One of my friends that is not here, Fakhri, said something that stuck in my head again. As I said, there are things that you have told me throughout the years, and those are the ones that keeps me going. And I remembered what she said. She said, your mom is a very lucky person.
And she said, do you know why? I said, why? She said, one thing we want in life is to be with someone that we truly love. Your mom really loved you, and she spent all her life with you, from the beginning to the end. So, in a way, when I think about that, she's right. She had a good life. First of all, my dad was madly in love with her. And I guess, well, of course she was pretty. That's beside the point. But when he passed away, for those few years that she was lost, till I realized that, I gotta do something. And I said, well, Daddy has spoiled mommy for so many years. Now I'm gonna spoil her for the rest of her life. Which hopefully I did that. I wish I could have done more, but I guess I did my part as much as I could. I just wish my other siblings were around, but unfortunately they were in different countries and it didn't work out for mom. But it happens, so there's nothing we can do about it. But I think she had a good life, she lived a long life, and she lived with somebody that truly cared for her and loved her. And at the end, as I said, I tried to do whatever I could have done. And thank God what Gino said, I got to the point that I could afford it to do some of the extravagant that I did for her, which was just to see her face glow. That's the only reason I did. If I bought something, whatever it was for, when I would look at her face, it just worth every penny of it. So the last thing I want to say tonight, it's you guys, gals are here, it have made a big difference for me. Thank you so much. Thank you to every one of you. Rami, by the way, my mom loved Marmar, and she always talked about her, what a beautiful lady she is, how lucky you are. So just remember that.
I love her too. She's an amazing woman.
My mom always said about Mehdi that he's such a generous person. If you ever hit the lottery, don't tell anyone but him, because it doesn't face him. So, and it's true. No matter how much money you have in the world, and if you have it in front of him, you say, oh, great, good for you. So he's always happy for you. And Jimmy, my mom has had a great respect for your parents. She always talked about your mom, and she said what a lovely lady she is. Your father, Dr. Hawarian, what a gentleman he is. So I'm glad that we got a few times we went out once to a restaurant, and a few times you came to our house, and it made her day. And I thank you so much.
They send their love, they like to be here because of their age.
I understand totally. And one person that is here is Dr. Toti. Dr. Toti is my mom's personal pharmacist. This gentleman is amazing. Anything, any drug, he put himself as risk, his license, and he gave it to my mom. And I thank you. I don't know how you did it. You did it.
Because they would have to agree for us to listen and not for drug dealers.
Yes. Thank you for the clarification. And one thing that every year he did it for my mom. Flu shot. This gentleman came out to the parking lot. My mom never went to the pharmacy to get the flu shot. He would come outside and give the flu shot. The year that she had no one else other shots, he would go to the other side and give her another shot. And so really, your services, yeah, when you said it, she's like my mother, and it really touched home, the way you said it. And I thank you, really. Your staff, you're a staff, you did so much for my mom. You go to the pharmacy, you feel like that you're the first-class citizen, but you're all the same. But for whatever reason, I thank you so much for everything you did for my mom. And one person I have here to say, Pauline. Pauline, I'm so grateful that she was with us for over 3 years. And she took care of my mom like her own mother. And when my mom was in a hospital, she came over there and stayed in a hospital with mom. When my mom came home, she did everything. At night, at 3 in the morning, toward the end, my mom would get a little confused. She would say that, well, it's breakfast time. So at 2 in the morning, she would serve her breakfast, get the tea, coffee, cake, and everything, and she would eat, and she'd go take a nap again. She would think that maybe it's 9 o'clock. And I would get up in the morning, she would say that, by the way, your mom had her breakfast at 2 in the morning. So thank you for all your dedication, hard work. You take care of my mom like no one else I can imagine, and I can never forget the services. It was outstanding. And my mom, as I said, because she was such an independent person. She would say that, why do I need somebody to follow me to the bathroom? I said, Mom, I know you don't need it, but this is for my peace of mind. It makes me feel easier, I can sleep better. If there is nobody to walk into the bathroom, I can't sleep at night. She said, no, I don't need anybody, I can go to the bathroom myself. So she would get up in the morning, let's say at 2 in the morning, and she quickly would walk to the bathroom. So poor Pauline, for the past 2 years, she has slept on the hallway to make sure that she doesn't go to the bathroom on her own. So she has slept not on the, she used to sleep on the bed for 1 year, but for the past 2 years, she has slept on the floor because my mom was out of control. So thank you so much, really. It was, I don't think anybody would do what you did for my mother, and I greatly appreciate everything that you did. Not many people have such a big heart, but you do. By the way, the Mandana, if you remember, once you came to our house, my mom made shrimp for your mother, and after you guys left, my mom said, what a beautiful accent your mom has. And Mandana is from Afagh, right? Yeah, and they have such a sweet accent. And my mom was talking about your mom for a couple of days. I hope you enjoyed that shrimp that my mom made for you.
Yes.
And she, as I said, she was outstanding when it came to cook. She would do anything, it would turn out just beautiful. And Ali and Nahal Khanum, they are the friends from the dinosaur times, except for her, you are the dinosaurs. Yeah, I've known him from college, and it was great. He used to come, and my mom, we had great conversation. So the history between Ali, I think you're Ali and Faromars and maybe are the three that goes way back. So I'm so grateful to our friendship with you three that lasted this long. And of course, my wonderful crew from the office, Mr. Paul Mary, Diane, what a beautiful lady, she left Port Authority not too long ago, Mr. Kashani and his wife, and Mr. Brian Haggerty and his wife. I'm honored to have every one of you here. Thank you so much. We have two new members here, our neighbors, Lois and Flor. They joined us just the past couple of months ago. So thank you for your attendance here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And also Maria, thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. You're such a wonderful lady. I'm so glad that you're with Barbara. She needs somebody like you. Thank you. Well, if there is no one that's going to join me here to say anything, once again I want to thank you, everybody, that you are here in honor of my mother as she's passing to heaven on such a day, passage to heaven on such a day. So thank you so
next week I forgot everything. Don't forget, I'm old compared to you young people.
By the way, we have one volunteer, Ali says that I have to say a few things because I owe it to your mom for what she did for my wife and I. So here you are, Ali.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry I'm not a good, speaker. I stutter like Biden and talk like a Trump. Doesn't make sense. Please forgive me at the beginning. I'm the one that knew Miss. I'm
But
sorry.
if you're like Biden, you need something to read. There's something to read or something.
I didn't. Sorry,
You
my
can't put 2 words with us, a teleprompter.
my glasses is there. Sorry. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm one of those, dinosaur that was Merda's friend, and I met Miss Fadavi late, maybe 78 or so. And I finished my school. I went back home overseas for almost 18 years, and I didn't have no contact with Miss Fadavi. Then I married my wife, beautiful wife now, and we came here for vacation in 97, and we came to visit Miss Fadavi. She was so nice to me and my wife. As Mirdad said, she had a special room. Nobody, no guest could sleep in the first floor where she slept. Any guest, they have to go to basement. Only she let us sleep, stay in the first floor. That was so amazing for me, and I never forgot. And always, we came and visit her. She was so nice. I mean, so nice that I really miss her. I do. And I wish her best, and I know that she is in heaven. Sorry if I made a mistake. I didn't make a good, sentence. Please forgive me. Especially you.
You did fine.
Thank you so much.
You did fine.
Thank you for everybody that made Merdad happy. We have to try to be close to him as much as we can. Of course, I'm from Maryland. I'm too far from here. But you guys that are here, hopefully you can do my job. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you. Yes, really. As Ali said, we are one of those dinosaurs, and thank God we are, because it goes back many years, and we have had so many great stories
Sure.
that with mom we had.
Sure.
So those are the things that it stays in your mind and gives you energy and keeps you going. And I thank you for your friendship. Thank you.
Sure.
And your wife now.
I mean, sorry, I didn't go further. My English is not as much.
No, you did perfectly. You did perfectly. I don't know what you're talking about. Plus, Gino helped you out with the teleprompter.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
I love Gino.
Well, as soon as he said he was Joe Biden, I knew where to meet you.
He's a good sport like I am.
Yes, definitely. Well, I have known Gino for 30 years now.
Oh,
For 30 years, and for the past 3 years, he's my mom's hairstylist. So
Oh.
he came to our house for the past 3 years, been cutting my mom's hair. And every time he came, he left with tears in his eyes.
so sweet. Yeah.
He said that your mom is just like my mother. And it's when I see him, the way he was behaving around my mom, it was beautiful. That was treating my mother like his own mother, and really, he you're a great guy, you're a great friend.
So he is one of our relatives. Why he wants to vote Trump now?
Listen, I'm Italian, not stupid.
I'm just
He's an amazing person. Yeah,
yeah, I know.
yeah. And whether it was snow, rain, shine, made no difference. Mom needs you on Sunday, and he would say, I'm there at 3 o'clock. And he would give a really precision haircut. I'm talking about Vidal Sassoon haircut. If you guys know about haircut, when a hairdresser pulls your hair up, and cut the hair with his finger and a scissor, you can tell how much of a good hairdresser the person is. I remember once we went to one individual, and the way she started cutting my mom, and I said, Mom, don't expect a good haircut. Poor lady was nervous till she was done with it. So all I told her, I said, she doesn't want too much cut, by the way. Just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So in case you mess up, nobody can tell. And she was way out in Dover. So we drove all the way to Dover because one of our friends said that she was a Persian girl, that she's a very good hairdresser. And I said, wow, let's go see this wonderful magic woman, how good of a job she does on my mother. And one of the reasons that cutting hair was so important to me, as you can tell, appearance to my mom was everything. Presentation was everything. Had you cooked dinner and the table didn't look good, she would say that this dinner is no good. Everything has, number one, it must look good. Then if it tastes good, well, obviously it must taste good. Otherwise, why do you bring it over there? So presentation, whether the way you dress up, the way you do your hair, or you set up the table for your friends to have a dinner with, it meant so much for her. And presentation was important. I remember poor mom picked on Barbara a few times. Why are you wearing this? And she said, because I like it. And my mom said, no, you shouldn't be wearing this. And poor Barbara conversation would go back and forth. And I thank you, Barbara, for your understanding. My mom was just an honest person, and you know it. Whatever she said it bluntly, not to get you upset, because she thought in her mind that she's helping you. Perhaps you don't know that this doesn't look good for you. So you better, somebody tell her that. So,
I never got it. Never.
I know you didn't. Yeah, that's another side of you, which is.
But the best part with your mother was that you couldn't talk to me. So the best part was that while I was cutting her hair, we couldn't talk. Because she would yell at him, because if he distracted me, then I couldn't do a good job. So as soon as he started talking, she started screaming at him. I couldn't understand what she said, but I had an idea because he would shut up.
No, she was so concerned that, God forbid, while he's cutting mom's hair, and if something happens, it's my fault. So when he was coming over, she would tell me, don't talk to Gino. I said, Mom, it's disrespectful. If the guy want to talk to me, what should I say? She said, well, if my hair ends up not the way I want to, it's all your fault. And I said, no, Mom, this guy is a professional. What are you talking about? He knows what he's doing. So Gino, you don't know because of you how many times she yelled at him. So you were there only for an hour, but I had to put up with all the complaints that she did. Even though the hair looked good, but she would say that hadn't you not talked to it, would be perhaps this would be like this would be like that. I said, okay, Mom. Yeah, so Mom was unique in many ways. Wow. This was a time that we were going out to eat, and I said, Mom, do you want ice cream now or later? She said, what kind of a silly question is this? if you want to give me ice cream, just give me ice cream. I said, no, the reason I asked you that I wanted to, whether I should give you ice cream, I don't want to ruin your appetite. She said, no, don't worry about that. Leave it up to me. You know, I decide whether I should eat it. So she was.
She's probably yelling at you. She's giving him a good speech.
I know, and she always does that. Oh, this is funny. My mom said that make sure you're respectful to your boss. I said, Mom, what would you like me to tell my boss then? She said, just be nice to him. I said, like what? What should I tell her? She said, tell your boss that, you know, you're a gentleman. I like you like your brother. I said, Mom, but I don't like my brother as much. So should I say that? She got upset.
You should sound like more than
Really, this is great. You have made my night. I know that Mom is appreciative of your presence here. I know this is all in honor of my mom, and I thank you. Thank you, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I oversee walking across my house. So this is great.
Take care of yourself, okay? You're such a beautiful person.
Same here. Take care.
Thank you so much for this. Nice meeting you.
Oh, sorry. You can go ahead. No worries.
Yeah.